How would scientists, governments, but also ordinary people on this world react if it was certain that the first alien visitors are on our doorstep? As much as we wish for contact with an alien race, there are still concerns. What if the alien visitors are not friendly? Thoughts like these occurred to scientists who were observing a thing in space and came across hints that the object could be a spaceship. But no one responded to the many radio messages. Instead, the part flew past Earth on strange lines, turned around, and then came back. Oumuamua, mysterious visitor from a foreign world. The year is 2017. In Hawaii, researchers are monitoring the sky with the Pan-STARRS 1 telescope, as they do every day. Their goal is to track down all flying objects that are unusual or come too close to Earth. Most of the time, these are asteroids, comets, or even a piece of large space junk. In our solar system alone, there are billions of rocky objects that are occasionally attracted by the sun and then moved from outer areas of the solar system to the inner ones. Day and night, several telescopes worldwide are pointed towards the sky to detect even the slightest movement and thoroughly research these objects. Every new piece of information about the rocks flying around in space can change everything from one moment to the next. If an asteroid changes its direction or a new one appears, our world could suddenly be in great danger. So, it's hardly surprising that every little rock that can be detected by telescopes and radars is thoroughly investigated. For nearly 100 years, scientists have been monitoring the space around us in this way, and nothing really significant has been noticed in all that time. Every 10, 20, or 100 years, well-known asteroids or comets pass by. So imagine the surprise when astronomers at the University of Hawaii discovered something completely new in the night sky on October 19, 2017, and quickly sounded the alarm. The observation sharpness of the Near-Earth Object Observations Program is phenomenal. Even smaller rocks, satellites, or gases are registered. Nothing escapes these observers, at least usually. But on this day, the telescope discovered an object that was different from all other objects previously sighted in space. And to their great horror, this piece had already flown by Earth at a close distance without anyone taking note of it. Only by chance did what is now world-famously known as Oumuamua become visible. This new alien object was given this unusual name for a very specific reason. Shortly after its discovery, it was clear that this thing had come from outside the solar system. Thus, Oumuamua was and remains the first ever observed interstellar visitor in our solar system. Among the Hawaiians, an Oumuamua is a first scout from a foreign world. A natural object doesn't do that. Hours after the discovery of the object, the entire global community of astronomers and space scientists was in turmoil. Data was compared and special sessions were held. No one on this Earth had ever sighted anything similar or had any data with which the strange space rock could be compared. Never before had researchers seen an object from outside the solar system. The speed and accuracy with which this part had penetrated into our solar system was also shocking. The fact that Oumuamua had reached Earth at all was like a puzzle. As soon as this initial shock set in among the scientists, things really became strange because calculations indicated that the object must have a propulsion system, otherwise the high speeds could not be explained. Moreover, since its discovery, Oumuamua had traveled a flight path that only a controlled object can complete. But the shocks were far from over. As the researchers were still discussing, Oumuamua accelerated before the eyes of the scientists, flew a bend in the Earth's orbit, and returned in the direction from which it came. No natural flying object would be capable of such a maneuver. Subsequently, the first voices were raised suggesting that Oumuamua could be a spaceship. But pitch dark without flights, without giving off a radio signal? That also didn't seem to fit. Hundreds of radio calls transmitted at different frequencies went unanswered. What was Oumuamua then? Normally, all flying objects of natural origin that approach Earth are initially classified as an asteroid. So, Oumuamua was initially given the status of an asteroid. But no asteroid can fly a hook in space and then simply turn back. Slowly, the disturbing suspicion arose that Oumuamua could be a probe that didn't want to be seen on its journey. It's not a comet either. Not only the proponents of the alien theory were getting a bad feeling about Oumuamua's behavior. Fear began to spread because if an object of this size and speed behaves so unpredictably in the vicinity of Earth, we also have to consider the possibility of a collision. What Oumuamua might be, scientists had to observe the thing meticulously for weeks in order to predict the worst in time. Some scientists didn't want to accept that Oumuamua was something completely unknown and potentially highly dangerous. They sought other explanations and made everything worse when they tried to explain Oumuamua's existence by classifying it as a comet. With the help of the Very Large Telescope of the European Southern Observatory in Chile, the shape and dimensions of the object were to be determined with precision. If it was indeed a comet, this would have to be proven by data on its composition, color, and brightness. But instead of providing certainty, everything became even more frightening. Initial measurements had shown that Oumuamua reflects almost no light. For a comet, this is rather strange, because comets are essentially made of ice, which reflects sunlight very well and brightly. Some comets are so heavily polluted that they do indeed appear dark. But comets always release dust particles, or ice, into their surroundings. The measurements of Oumuamua showed that the rock-like, rugged surface has not lost a single speck of dust. Oumuamua not only consisted of a difficult-to-define material, but also displayed a bewildering shape. Sometimes the measurements suggested a cigar-shaped thing. Then, Oumuamua resembled a disk. This only led to one conclusion, that the object was rotating in space. From the side, it resembled a cigar. From the top, a disk. The entire shape of Oumuamua did not fit into the concept. The object had a radius of about 656 feet, and in the cigar-shaped view, it was about 10 times as long as it was wide. Objects in space are usually round or resemble potatoes. Over the past decades, scientists have detected, measured, and mapped thousands of asteroids and comets. A cigar-shaped object has never been sighted. Oumuamua continued to contradict all the known laws of astrophysics up to that point. The material could not be clearly defined, and apparently, the object was also changing shape. A red UFO with a cloaking device? In the days and weeks after the first sighting, the theories about the oddball from a foreign world became increasingly spectacular. Further observation showed that Oumuamua was red like rust or burnt red earth. This color has been observed in many objects in our outer solar system, but with these objects, the red comes demonstrably from the dust that surrounds them. Not a single grain of dust could be found in Oumuamua's vicinity. It almost seemed as if the object had been thoroughly cleaned. Continuing measurements showed that Oumuamua was metallic on the inside and made of an unknown mineral substance on the outside. With this composition, a massive rock with metallic inclusions should be traveling rather slowly. However, Oumuamua was moving faster than any asteroid and faster than any probe ever built by humans through space. In its fastest phases, the gigantic space cigar was traveling at 85,658 miles per hour. Again, the researchers calculated. All those who did not want to believe in an alien part were firmly of the opinion that Oumuamua was somehow accelerated by the sun, or else the part was moving with the help of a previously unknown force that somehow pushed or steered it through the solar system. Since we so far know very little about the forces acting in interstellar space, this is conceivable. Similar to how comets and asteroids within our system travel on certain gravitational lines, Oumuamua could have been in an orbit around a center that was far outside our solar system and which scientists have not yet been able to identify. Thanks to its speed and general flight path, the scientists were able to determine that the object was hurled towards Earth from the position of the star Vega. Vega is the brightest star in the northern constellation, Lyra. Although Oumuamua is quite speedy, the object would still have taken over 300,000 years to reach us. If extraterrestrials had sent it as a well-camouflaged probe, and are waiting for a report from Oumuamua. This species must possess great perseverance. Another possibility is that Oumuamua really was once a probe, similar to our Voyager probes. Just as Voyager 1 and 2 will be flying somewhere in space in hundreds of thousands of years, Oumuamua could also be a scientific relic. But what the rock-like crust of the thing is made of, and how the steering works, would still remain a mystery. A familiar visitor? Another interesting theory suggests that Oumuamua is not a stranger at all, but possibly visits our solar system more frequently. It's just that we have never noticed the object before. Observing asteroids, comets, and smaller objects in space is a tremendous challenge. Telescopes like Pan-STARRS 1 have only existed for just over 10 years. So, we need to be careful when we claim that an object has penetrated our solar system from outside for the first time. Our Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and we humans have only been looking into space with high-performance telescopes for just about 100 years. If this object indeed takes a round through the solar system every year, could it truly be a lifeless chunk of rock flying through space? Or could it be a brilliantly disguised spacecraft figuring out what we're up to? Paul Chodas, head of the Center for the Study of Near-Earth Objects, literally stated, "It's a strange visitor from a far-off star system, shaped like nothing we've ever seen in our own solar system neighborhood." However, the expert considers the theory of a well-disguised alien spaceship too far-fetched. The interstellar comet Borisov, which appeared shortly after Oumuamua, could support the theory that we are only now able to see these objects at all. Borisov was discovered in August 2019 by astronomer Gennady Borisov at the Margot Observatory in Crimea, and after a brief investigation, it was definitely established to be a comet. Do you find it reassuring that yet another object from interstellar space has surfaced? Or do you think it represents a new and underestimated danger from these visitors?